everyone. It's Friday, May 28th. Where the heck did May go? Right? I'm just going to take a beat here so that people get on. Apparently, it takes a little bit for people to be actually get on. So, because everything I have is so riveting, you don't want to miss a bit of it. Okay. Here we go. Let me see what I've got going on here. I've actually got a lot going on here today. What?
One person asked about starting this because she was new,
Uh-huh.
and we told her that they didn't have those fabrics, but I told her to look at those.
Well, I don't even know that those are for sale anymore.
I'm just saying you can do it in
Oh.
other fabrics, so I would encourage
Okay, so John just came in. You heard the whole conversation, I'm sure. But if you're brand new here, yes, we're out of these kits for this pattern, this free pattern we're giving to you at thequiltshow.com. But I'm telling you, I've seen them now in boutiques. I've seen them, well, and then I did tulas for when I was sewing the blocks together. We talked about 40s, 30s fabrics, 40s fabrics, 1875, repros and all that. So this pattern is good for a myriad of different fabrics. It's just, I happen to totally fall in love with this. And it's a Kaleidoscope by Andover. That's what it is. I think we wiped them out practically. Today, we will be talking about sewing on the borders. I got a couple tips and tricks, especially if you're new to this whole quilting game. And I hope I have some of you there. But let's see, right behind me, right above Tula Pink, there is this little cornflower. Whoop. And that collection has been around for a while. I cut it out, but it is, I'll show you, it is called Meadow, something Meadow. My overlay's in the way. Modern Cornflower Cream by Robin Pickens for Moda Fabric. Now, this website where I found it, I just Googled it, okay? They're out of stock, but I'll bet if you start looking around, or maybe even if you go to Etsy, you might find it. I love that fabric. I love it. I used it when we did the Sequoia remix sampler in my pot. I used the cutouts there. And then Robin let me take a little bit more. Speaking of Robin, she came over yesterday and she's starting to work on her little girl and another little girl, actually more a honeymooner like mine, my newlywed honeymooner. It's about this big. I sat down yesterday and started to sew and it was like, oh. Anyways, she said, I need some wool batting. She goes, I got to go get wool batting. Actually, she's working on a table runner. I just lied. My pants are on fire. Oh, yesterday I said to Lennox, I said, your pants are on fire. And she looked at me, she goes, they're burning hot. So, yeah. Oh, these kids are funny. So what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So she came over and she said she's doing a table runner. She got a beautiful linen table runner. Linen, gorgeous. And she said, I think I'm going to get wool and I'm going to split it. Well, I happen to have some wool bat here, and kind of like my room is hers and her room is mine. And so I pulled out the wool, we cut it, and there's larvae in it because I wasn't storing it. It was being stored just naked and open. Now, when you're using a wool bat, when you have cotton on each side of it, that works as a firewall. So like, let's say you have open wool batting, perhaps I should be storing it in a pillowcase, a cotton pillowcase. But she said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. This is what you do. You put it in your freezer. Okay, so I took the rest of mine and I put it in the freezer. I don't know if this is true, but John opens the freezer and goes, she goes, there's batting in the freezer. And I said, oh, thank you. I forgot where I put it. He didn't laugh. We've had too much Alzheimer's in our life. He did not think that was funny. So Robin says if you put it in your freezer, she read it somewhere that it will kill the larvae. So we'll see. I just think it's funny because anybody who opens it is going to go, oh, she's lost her rocker. So, uh, let's not forget that this weekend, Memorial Day weekend, we are doing a giveaway about 4 or 5 things. Kristen has been working on that, but one of them is a Cindy Needham little girl. So one of you is going to win this. And we have opened the show for you guys this weekend also. So if you have not watched this show, 2804, I know, I mean, you've got to go see it. But I know that most of you here are Star members because you support us so beautifully. And also, I just want to put out there, periodically we do sales that we let Star members have first crack at. So if you are not yet a Star member, we have a 10%, or I'm sorry, a $10 off Memorial Day weekend sale going on right now. So you might want to join. That's $39 for the whole stinking year. So I also, Rondi, do you want this love seat? I gotta get rid of this. I got a new couch, a new love seat for our family room. It's in pretty good condition. If somebody has a kid with an apartment or something like that, it's free. It's free. It's free. Please come get it. Contact me if you're interested. I need it gone. So things are starting to come together. You can see back here now, the guest bedroom has this is kind of what's left in that. So I'm really culling it down. I'm getting things back to normal. Let me show you. I'm so excited. I walk in here and my heart goes pitter patter. So here's the office. It's back to normal. I can actually sit down and print out something. And then my art corner is very good. I have some stuff yet I've not yet brought in, but like that empty shelf on the left-hand side, let's just appreciate it's an empty shelf. It won't be for long. And I can see my Q20 now. It's no longer a table holding a bunch of stuff. I washed her off yesterday, got her all good to go. And what's left to do are the built-ins, and I'll be getting those towards the end of June. So right here, I used to have my dad built this table. It's actually 2 tables. On the other side, it's 2 doors, and that's that big Quilters Select mat. And I had a spring rod with fabric in front of it to cover up all this stuff. And I mean, it was just an abyss. So I'm having a built-in there with plain doors and with pull-out shelves and all that good stuff. So that'll be nice and tidy. And then on the back wall, I'm doing built-ins there also. I have a friend who does customs. And originally I was going to do something with the other sort of tables like from IKEA and all that, but the space on these 2 doors that my dad did is just, I mean, you can't beat it. And if I ever go to sell the house, one of the tables is going with it because you can't get it out of here. The engineer didn't think the whole thing through. I love, love, love walking in this room, and I am ever so grateful that I can do this right now. And that worked out in a halfway expedient amount of time, given all the construction and everything. And by the way, if you are considering construction and stuff, like the cost of goods is up 200% or something just insane. So I got this, I think Joy sent this to me, I think via Gmail. We're working on the forum, madly working on the forum, and nobody's happy with the picture situation. So I apologize for that. That's all I'm going to say. But Joy did not want to do the applique border, and this is such an interesting solution to it because I can see if I can blow this up a little bit more. I wonder if I can. I don't know. Yeah, I can. Look at how beautiful that border is and how it pulls all those colors together. Good job. Good job. Let's see. Here, my cat. She's in trouble. She is in big trouble. On Wednesday, she bit me. She just bit me. I mean, I was doing nothing to her. And then that night, she was sleeping on my head and she took her claw and hooked it in my nose and it got stuck. And I'm screaming, I couldn't get it out. It was like a fish hook. And I'm like, what is wrong with you, Kat? So last night she did not have the privilege of sleeping with Bubby and Baba. I don't know. So if you hear her crying, I think she's part deaf and blind, and it's just the poor baby is so old. Okay, so this is Barb's, and she put in these little horses, Swedish, right? Or Danish, I think Swedish. Ooh, and I know if I get it wrong, I'm in big trouble. And that is calls to her heritage. I think she put it in a couple times, and Swedish. It's right there. I can read. Okay. And her passion for horses. You know, when Adair and I go back to Door County next week, it's a ton of Swedes up there, and you see art like those horses everywhere, and like those the round barn hex signs and all that. It's just so good back there. And then Mary, this is itty bitty. This is what was making me cray cray in the forum, that I couldn't get it bigger. But that said, I would have steered clear from off white, and it's beautiful. So that's the thing, you guys. You have to be willing to put things up on walls and take a good, um, really good look at to see, because you just don't know till you put it up. And also, Marie, I instantly cleaned off the scratch with hydroperoxide, and I put you know, cleaning junk on it, because I know they're very, very dirty, the bites and scratches, because they go potty in the yard. Okay, and then Sue, um, she put in her thing, she said, Sue comes to my retreat every year. She goes, oh, I got carried away with the flowers. Let me try and blow it up a little bit more. And she said, and then I realized I have to applique it all down. Yes, you do. And I wrote in the forum, it's kind of like Christmas. What goes up must come down. Every year I say that more and more. And one of these days it's going to be a glass little Christmas tree on the mantle, and is it. What goes up must come down. Okay, so we talked about Robin Pickens with the cornflower fabric, the wool batting. And so let's talk about this quilt and how I did the borders, all right? And then on Monday, we're going to prepare applique, and Wednesday, no, wait, Monday we're going to do the vine. It's a little tricky because the stuff is so meshy. I'm going to show you a way that I don't think I've shown you before. In fact, I called Barbara Black and said, what do I do? I can't remember how I got it up. It's been so long ago. So we'll do the vine on Monday, and then flower prep on Wednesday. It is finished applique. Of course, you can do whatever you want to do. So let's take a look here at this and all my other stuff. Why did I decide, when do I decide to do butted corners versus mitered corners? If it doesn't bring anything to the table as far as the design goes, I want butted. They're just so much easier. But, and again, I'm so glad I could find this quilt. This place is empty. But this is the quilt you've looked at behind me when I'm sitting at my table. And this has a mitered corner, okay? And it's because it adds to the design, at least in my humble opinion, I think it does, okay? I think butted, it would be disruptive. I like how this just kind of floats there and does its thing. So yeah, so this would be mitered. We're doing butted. The other thing is that I got to turn on and face you. If for some reason you cut your border incorrectly, you can piece it and it won't show. I know because I did. And I can't even find it right now. Wait, maybe this is it. No, I can't even find it. So I did piece my white border. When I have something that is rectangle like this, wait. First thing I want you to do, and I learned this from Dee Christopher's interview with the long arm gal, is I want you to go and stay stitch around the edge less than a quarter of an inch so that the seams don't fall apart. case in point is up here. This is starting to fall apart, so I have to go back and re-sew it. So you want to just secure the seams that go all the way to the outside edge. And it just, for an extra 3 minutes, it will help you down the road, okay? And so now, when it is I chose to sew on the borders before I put on the flowers. You can, the reason is right up in there where my fingers are wiggling, I'm flopping into the body of the quilt. Down here, I'm flopping into the body of the quilt, all right? If I am not gonna flop into the body of the quilt, I might well consider doing all the applique before I sew on the borders. And what you do if you choose to do that is when you get like up in here, when you get to the end, when you get to the end here, you just leave extra vine. You just leave extra vine. And when you're coming up here, you just leave extra vine, you sew it on, and then you do the corner, and then you only have to put the corners on when the whole thing is sewn together. But in this case, I wanted it to flop into the body of the quilt top. I think it's very effective. That said, it's cut 7.5 inches wide, these borders. If you wanted to keep it all in the border, you might consider cutting it 8.5 inches wide. And if you cut it 8.5 inches wide, you know it will finish 8. If you cut it 7.5 inches wide, you know it will finish 7. So after you have secured all the edges of the body of the quilt, and you've cut out the width of your borders, I like to sew, if it's a rectangle, I like to sew on the sides first, and then I like to sew on the top and the bottom. If I sew on the top and the bottom first, the sides are going to be a super long cut of fabric, super long cut. So that's how I do it. Before you sew it on, before you figure out how long it's going to be, what you do is you take a tape measure, all right, and in the middle of the quilt, I can't turn around and do it because I know that the voice gets lost. Couple times in the middle and maybe a third and a third, measure it. Measure the body of the quilt before you've sewn on the border. Take the average of that, and that is how long you will cut the strip. So this is what's interesting. With this particular quilt, because we did it on a foundation, it's going to be pretty spot on, okay? It is going to be, you're not going to have to do that much maneuvering. I went and measured it this morning, and I went, oh my gosh, it's not spot on. And the reason it's not spot on now is because I put on the applique, and the applique does draw things in. So the quilt measures raw 32 across, raw, 32 and a half across, 32 and a half across. It will finish at 32, right? Because they're talking about we got to include the seam allowance. And then down, it will measure 40 and a half because it's 40 for the quilt itself, and then you need the seam allowances. So on the side for mine, because it did measure up perfectly because it was done on a foundation, one of the pluses is I cut the sides 40 and a half, okay, by 7.5. That's what I did the sides at. And then the top and the bottom, I cut at, I hope I got these numbers right. I think I do, 46 and a half by 7.5. I think I got it right. I got out my calculator. But because it would be 32 plus 14, 32 plus 14, 46. Yeah, 46 and a half. Got it right. Woo! And then I sew it on. Now, when you go to sew this on, it is your last chance, people, to get all the ironing done properly and all that. Somebody was saying that they didn't like how big the lumpy bumpy was there, and when she put the rows together, feel free to pick, like when you do in a pinwheel, where you just pick from the seam to the raw edge and twist it, and that will flop the seams in different directions. All right. So this is going to give you time to get caught up, sew on the borders. And when you get the border sewn on, like that part up there that I showed, right up there where it's falling apart, the seam is, go ahead and like secure those and sew right there, just a little bit, less than 1/4 of an inch, okay? And then when you go to quilt it and stuff, it won't be a mess. So this is really easy. The stems, I don't think I've shown you the way. I think I said this earlier on how I'm going to show, because it is a gauzy fabric. You can't just like pull it through a clover tape maker. You can't. I think I did one called the poor man's way, where you use a pin and go and stuff. You can't do it because it will stretch. This is very persnickety fabric. It's beautiful, but you would run into this with oak shots too. So you want to be very respectful of the weave of the fabric. Also, when you get, no, I'm not going to go there. Okay. Hello from northern Wisconsin. Lori, that's where I'm going to be next Thursday. I'll be up in Gills Rock. Yes, I will. Taking Mama home. Donna, yeah, your cat just did the same thing to you. I couldn't believe it. And I said to Lennox, who is a cat whisperer and all, I said, just stay away. I mean, there's something going on. Just stay away. She must be PMSing. Is all I can figure. What's her problem? So, okay. This weekend, we got a couple things going on. Go and enter to win prizes. All right. You go to the front page and go enter to win. There's going to be a drawing, and Kristen has put this together. She always does a smashing job, right? But also, let me show you this. On the top there, it says special membership savings. Get $10 off 1 year membership. And I think it says 1 year's. It gives you a code, okay? It gives you a code. Now, if you're looking at this and it's getting in the way, if you click the little X in the upper right-hand corner, it will go away, all right? It's like it's been put on in layers. So I don't know what you people are doing this weekend. I am going to be sewing on my little girl. I sat down at my machine and it was like, oh man, it just felt so good. So I hope my entry went through. Cindy, I'm sure it did. And you guys, you can only enter once. All right. If we see that you've entered a couple times and we pull your name, your pants are on fire and you won't win. Okay. Also, Paul, Sparrow might be getting dementia. She's forgetting who you are. I didn't know cats could do that. I'm going to go Google that. She could, because that would explain, oh my gosh, do cats get dementia? And I am serious at that. That would explain why she hollers when she's in the house and I'm standing right there. It's like, come on. Oh no. Was my mom and dad not enough? Seriously. And again, I want to get rid of this love seat. I want it gone. If you're interested, contact me at alexandrsn@gmail.com. I know, Jane, I know that Sparrow could also be in pain, but she doesn't, when I pick her up, she doesn't, like her ears don't go like this and her tail doesn't go like this. So the dementia thing, I'm going to go Google that. Honestly, seriously. No, she doesn't. Oh, look who John has. She doesn't have a urinary tract infection because she's not going pee-pee all the time. Look at you. You old lady.
Kill her.
No, no. Kill me?
No,
or
no,
kill
no.
her?
Just that's what we call her.
Oh, we call her killer. She is so old that a mouse could walk into her mouth and she'd say, oh well. That is not the fighting sparrow I know. So, oh, maybe she's upset with the construction. That could be too. That could be too. We named her Sparrow, but really her name should have been Little Orphan Annie. I mean, that cat was so lucky to get us. So, yes, we did have a little scavenger hunt. John, was there anything you wanted to say to the people? You want to wish them a nice weekend?
Have a great weekend. I'm trying to get Alex to do a cheap wine tasting with me. Maybe we'll do it out on that little love seat out there and wait for people going by.
A kid came by wanting to know if our solar was good. And I was like, yes, we love our solar. And then I said, but if you really want me happy, I said, take this love seat. And he goes, I can't, and I need it. I live in Tracy. And he said, maybe I'll just sit out there for a while. I said, fine with me. So, okay. With the $10 off, it should bring it down to 39. So there we go. There we go. Okay. Have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday. I know it's a holiday, but my intention is to get the vine on, get you going on the flowers, and then when I get back from Wisconsin, we can sew on the flowers and stuff. I can't wait to go to Door County. I love it there so much. So, okie dokie.